Hey, so big warm welcome to everyone joining our webinar today. It's great to see people joining from all over the world today, so that's great to have you here with us. Thank you for joining us. My name is James. I am the course advisor for the International Commercial Technology Law Online LLM at the University of Manchester, and I'll be hosting today's session. I'm also joined by Dr. Joseph Lee, who is the course director for that program. And he's going to be giving an introduction to the program a little bit later on, and also discussing today's webinar topic, which is about the collapse of crypto exchanges and the legal regulations that may come about as a result of these collapses and changes in the industry. So I'll just give a quick rundown of how the session is going to work today. So we have an introduction from Joseph in a minute, and then followed by his talk on crypto exchanges. And then also we're going to have a Q&A for anyone who wants to ask questions about this topic and discuss in further detail. And then I'll also give an introduction about the LLM International Commercial Technology Law program that we offer at the University of Manchester. So please feel free to post your questions in the Q&A function. We also have the chat box open, so you can post your name, where you're joining us from today. Maybe you can tell us a little about what industry or what field of law you work in. That would be nice to see in some of the chat box there. So yeah, Joseph is a reader here at the University of Manchester, reads in corporate and commercial law. And he's also a visiting professor at the University of Liège and the National Taiwan University. So Joseph, if you'd like to give a quick introduction about yourself, tell us a little bit about your background and your career so far.
Thank you, James. Can you hear me?
Absolutely, yeah. Loud and clear.
Thank you. Yes, it's a great pleasure to speak with you about crypto exchanges and also the possible and forthcoming regulations. My name is Joseph Lee. I'm director of the LLM in International Commercial and Technology Law here at the University of Manchester, and I'm also a reader in corporate and financial law here. So now in this webinar, our aim is to highlight some of the issues in crypto assets, and notably talking about the collapse of some of the crypto exchanges in the so-called crypto winter, and also thinking about the legal and regulatory responses to this event. So James, I think that maybe we can have a look at the PowerPoint slides that we have prepared.
Absolutely, yeah. Let me just set that up for you.
So, oh, I'm not able to move the slide.
Okay, let me just try that. Okay, there's your first slide.
Thank you. So again, to this end, so we're going to look at the following issues, and these are what is a crypto exchange? What do the crypto exchanges do? What is crypto asset? What did the crypto exchange, why did the crypto exchanges collapse, and what are the risks involved? And then how should regulations respond to them? And then also thinking about the future of the crypto assets market. So next slides, please, James. So first of all, we need to know what is a crypto exchange. So these are some of the crypto exchanges we have seen active or were once active in the market. So the Mt. Gox in Japan, Terra, the FTX, Three Arrows Capital, Celsius, Binance, Coinbase, eToro, Bitflyer, and also the OpenSeas for fungible, for trading of NFT, the fungible tokens. Do they all perform the same functions and process the same crypto assets? The answer is no. And hence it is important to know what services they actually provide to the crypto assets market. Next slide, please. So what do they actually do? So there are some questions what we need to ask. Do they issue their own tokens, for example, to the investors and the users, as did the FTX? Do they list the crypto assets issued by others for trading? And if so, how are they vetted? Do they provide clearing services, as we have seen some traditional exchanges begin to provide clearing for the trading of the crypto assets, such as the London Stock Exchange Group's LCH in Paris? Do they provide settlement function? And also, do they provide custodian services to the investors and the users? Next slides, please. So you have heard me talking about crypto assets. Now, this is a very important legal and regulatory question. What exactly is crypto asset? Now, in fact, there are different types of crypto assets, including Bitcoin, either on the Ethereum, Tether, Binance, USD, the non-fungible tokens, the NFTs, and also the tokenized securities, as well as the CBDC, central banks backed crypto digital currency. Now, the debate continues on if they should be treated as property. Even in the newly passed by the EU Parliament, the EU Market in Crypto Assets Regulation that will come into force in 2024. Not all of them, we have just mentioned, are considered crypto assets for the purpose of the regulation. Next slide, please. So the question, why did they collapse? I have three thoughts, three reasons for their collapses. First, poor internal risk governance against fraud and against cyber attack. Second, lack of liquidity management. And thirdly, there was a loss of investor and market confidence due to fraud, market manipulation and speculation, and also money laundering. Next slide, please. So hence we have learned or should have learned the risks involved in the crypto exchanges. So there are the risk of fraud, the risk of market manipulation and unfair trade against the investors and users, the liquidity risk that can cause the users not being able to withdraw their money, the risk of the exchanges and the markets being used by the criminals to launder money for illicit and illegal purposes, and the risk of cyber attack, such as hacking, stealing the private keys to transfer the assets in the network. Next slide, please. So now, how should they be regulated? How should regulation respond to these risks? I think regulation should address these risks mentioned, but at the same time, regulation should also strike a good balance between mitigating these risks on the one hand and fostering innovation in this sector on the other. Regulation should also have a purpose, and I think that in this area, financial inclusion should play an important role. We have seen forthcoming regulations, such as the EU Market in Crypto Assets Regulation that will come into force in 2024. The UK is also working on the new regulatory regime as announced by the Treasury in February this year, and has issued an open consultation titled Future Financial Services Regulatory Regime for Crypto Assets. At the same time, the Law Commission of England and Wales is also working on the private law aspects of crypto assets. There's currently also a draft legislation that will require all crypto asset firms marketing to UK consumers, including firms based outside the UK, to comply with the new UK financial promotions regime that is to be enforced by the UK Financial Conduct Authority, the FCA. At the transnational level, the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, has also issued several guidance on the standards and implementation of them on virtual assets and virtual asset service providers, VASPs, such as the travel rule to tackle money laundering. Last December, the Basel Committee has also issued the standard on the prudential treatment of banks' exposures to crypto assets, which will come into force in 2024. You have also seen in the news, in the US, the crypto exchanges need to register with the SEC, the Security Exchange Commission. And if they provide lending or staking services, they will also need to be subject to federal securities laws. Now, the US Commodity Futures Trading Commissions, the CFTC, is suing Binance and its CEO, as well as its former compliance officer, for willfully evading the US law. The SEC is also considering bringing an enforcement action against Coinbase in relation to its staking service, in which cryptocurrency holders can take part in validating transactions on the blockchain. So, what is the future? The next slides, please. So we are seeing some traditional financial institution, TradFi, and centralized financial institution, CeFi, begin to provide some crypto asset services to the decentralized finance space, DeFi. So we may see more collaborations between TradFi, CeFi, and DeFi, but there are a lot of questions. What will be the business model? What will be the risks involved? And how do we regulate? We need more, we need to learn more and to act responsively. So thank you for this short talk on the crypto assets market and regulation.
That was excellent, Joseph. Thank you very much for that. Some insightful ideas there and insight into what could happen in this space going forwards. So yeah, that's a great start. So there's been a few questions come through from our audience. I'll just try and piece some of them into an overall question. So obviously the technology industry moves very quickly, and traditionally the legal system maybe moves slightly slower than that. So how can regulators and lawmakers keep up with these developments in technology?
Well, I think no, that's a very good question, James. I think the space of technology is moving really very fast. And last year, before last year, we have never heard of ChatGPT and didn't even think that ChatGPT can do the job that we normally do. But then we are lawyers, we are not technologists, we are not scientists. Some of you may be, but I'm not a scientist. So what we need to know is the applications of these technologies in our relevant fields, and to have that ability to understand the implications for our businesses, for what we do, and to be able to assess the impacts and then evaluate these technologies. For instance, we don't need to know all the the technical details of blockchain, including public chain, private chain, or hybrid chain, but we should know their implications for the governance, for investor protection, for market competition and for cybersecurity and evaluate them. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Joseph. And if there's any other questions from the audience, please feel free to put them in the Q&A function, or you can also use the chat box as well. So a follow-up question to that then would be, what role will traditional financial institutions play in this emerging crypto market?
That's a very good question, because normally when we see crypto asset market, we categorize them as coming from the decentralized space, the DeFi space, whereas the traditional financial institutions such as investment banks, asset management firm, stock exchanges, settlement bank and custodian banks are categorized as TradFi or centralized financial institution, the TradFi and CeFi. I think that the TradFi, the CeFi financial institutions, these institutions we have mentioned, asset management, custodian banks, investment banks, stock exchanges, and they have played a very important intermediary roles to protect and safeguard the safety and integrity of the financial markets, and of course also for the economy. And I think they can continue to play an important gatekeeping role in the crypto assets market. Yeah,
that's great. Thank you, Joseph. So if a legal professional was looking into these topics in technology law, how can they future-proof their skill set to work in this field?
That is a very broad question. Maybe we can ask ChatGPT for the answers for that one. Well, I think yeah, to future-proof, I think that perhaps we should be open-minded about what technology can do for the digital economy and for the digital society in the possible coming era of Web3 and the metaverse, and to think about how technology can enhance our work. We need to appreciate the risks that technology can bring, and we lawyers, we are risk management professionals, and we can use the current legal and regulatory frameworks to identify the risks. And for example, the risk to privacy and the risk of surveillance capitalism, and privacy is important for innovation and creativity. Yeah,
yeah, definitely. So we've had another question come through the chat from one of our participants. So this participant asks, in your opinion, did the EU do a proper job with the recently finalized texts for MiCA? And if not, what would you like to have seen different or added in MiCA 2?
I think that's my opinion. I think the EU has done a tremendous job in introducing the MiCA, the EU markets in crypto assets regulation, and in response to the risks involved, in response to some of the incidents that we have seen, for example, lack of governance against fraud, lack of cybersecurity, lack of appropriate system to protect the investors, to protect the consumers, and then to ensure financial stability. So I think this is a legislation that is that we need this kind of regulation, and I think that the EU is ahead of many jurisdictions, and then we will probably see the EU effect on other jurisdictions, and possibly other jurisdictions will catch up and use MiCA as a kind of as a blueprint or template for their legal reform. Of course, it's not perfect. I don't think I'm the only person saying that. I mean, there are still shortcomings, and there are still areas that can improve, but we have already heard people talking about MiCA 2. So so I think that will be continue to be an interesting space to debate on how we regulate and what we should be regulating. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. Another question's come through about investing. So an investment in crypto, can that be categorized as an investment protected under international investment law?
That's a very interesting question.
Yeah.
Now, I think I think the short answer is it can be, but it depends on what that crypto asset is. So assuming if that is the kind of crypto assets covered under MiCA, for example, potentially if you're an investor and you have lost the money due to a violation of investment treaty, potentially yes. I mean, that may also give rise to investor protection action, and then the investors who suffer a loss may be able to bring an investment treaty arbitration against the state, for example. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the reasons we're holding this webinar today is to talk about your course that you've started in September, the LLM in International Commercial and Technology Law. So I'll just give everyone a quick introduction to that, and then we'll just have a little discussion about how that could benefit people who are interested in these legal fields that we've talked about today, in crypto, in AI, and some of the more current up-to-date issues in society, and how the law is involved in that. So let me just give you a quick rundown of this program. So this is our new LLM in International Commercial and Technology Law. So it's a fully online part-time master's degree, which will take 24 months in total to complete. So it's ideal for people working in industry, in a legal profession, who want to do an LLM in a really up-to-date area of the law, and they can work it around their full-time employment. We recommend around 15 to 20 hours of work on this per week, so it is something that you could do alongside your job. Our next enrollment for this program is this September, so applications are open for that intake. And we also have an early application discount, which has a deadline next month on May 22nd. So if you submit your application before that date, you'll automatically qualify for a 10% discount on fees. So if you're interested in this program, I'd recommend applying for it as soon as possible. There are also scholarships and bursaries available, and you can contact us for more information about that. You'll see our email address at the bottom of the slides, and I'll just put that at the end of the presentation as well. And we also offer an installment plan for fees to help maintain that fee structure. So Joseph, if you could maybe tell us a little bit about the course, a little bit about how this studying on this program might help a legal professional understand some of the topics we've talked about today.
Yes, I mean, we have 4 core modules, and these are corporation, technology, and law. The second one is financial law and fintech law, IP law in the new digital ecosystem, and also the online privacy, defamation, and data protection law. Student will also be required to do an individual project, and so the course is for legal professionals and those who want to work as a legal profession in the businesses involving the use of technology. For example, a tech firm or a traditional firm that uses technology such as AI, data analytics, blockchain in their trade and or in their operations. And for example, what are the risks and legal risks involved in using data analytics in green financing? And this is the topic that we will be covered on the course. So yes, in terms of career development, I think that you appreciate that it is important, as I said in my previous remarks, that it's important to appreciate the implications of the new technologies such as blockchain, generative AI, crypto assets on the digital economy, and then we use as a legal professionals, and we use the current legal and regulatory frameworks to critically evaluate their risks and impacts. So on this course, you also have the opportunity to undertake an individual project where you can choose a topic relating to international commercial law and technology law and be an expert in that area. For example, you can research in legal and regulatory issues involving the use of artificial intelligence to identify suspicious transactions and suspicious money laundering transactions in the crypto exchanges.
Yeah, thank you for that, Joseph. That's some interesting topics there as well, which we could possibly explore in our future webinars as well. We'll look into arranging one and inviting all our participants today to webinars on AI and the legal ramifications of that area. So yeah, if anyone has any further questions about the course, please feel free to post those in the chat or the Q&A. I'll just put up my contact details for anyone that's interested in making an inquiry or an application about the course. So you can feel free to email me at studyonline@manchester.ac.uk, and we can arrange a consultation to discuss the course and the application process further for you. And we can also answer any questions you have about the programme. And also remember, we have the early application discount deadline of May 22nd, so in just under a month. So please do get into contact before then, and we can get your application in place to help you qualify for that discount. So that pretty much brings us to the end of our talk today. If people have any other questions after the webinar, they can also email those across to me at studyonline@manchester.ac.uk. But yeah, a big thank you for everyone joining us today. And a big thank you, Joseph, for that insightful talk on crypto exchanges and the legal regulations that could come about based on those. And yeah, we'll definitely arrange another webinar going forwards to talk about some other interesting topics, so look out for those. But yeah, thank you for joining us, and thank you, Joseph.
Thank you very much. See you soon. Bye-bye.